I see some merit in what Dr. Wamai was trying to say earlier, in that I'm listening to you, nashindwa ku differentiate mrengo. I think you've defended Kenya Kwanza more than Jerry is in Kenya Kwanza. And you being in WDM, that is the Wiper Democratic Movement. But Dr. Wamai, is multi-democracy, because Donya has taken a very literal view of the subject, but from an ideological standpoint, is multi-democracy under threat in your view?
Of course it is. It is. But also it is, and it's been for a long time, in my view, since the Uhuru Ruto, for me, the cookie began to crumble after 2013. This alliance of Uhuru and Ruto. Because soon after 2013, even the political, that's when all this buying and people moving from one party to another became more, you know, a commonplace, which was not very common before that. So, and I think, and it's a challenge between Ruto and also, what's with the former president. Yeah, the former president, Kenyatta, Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know why they believed, and also his friend Ruto turned for, why they believe that you need to buy out everybody from the opposition who can be bought, whether it's with money or positions, or because that's weakening democracy. We need a strong opposition. We need to grow political parties. Kenya is one country where we don't have political parties. Even what here my sisters are, those are not political parties. If you ask them what is their ideology, you can see they're even telling me to shut up when it comes to freedoms, even my freedom to speech, you know. So all we have even in parties is sycophants, you know. Yeah, you could be a very good, I mean, you really believe in the people, and even me tomorrow, probably, sadly, if I ever decided to join politics, God forbid that I would need to become this, oh, now I don't have an ideology, I need to speak to make sure, you know, when Ruto or Gachagua watches, they're like, you did well. You know, that's really sad. So we have political parties with no ideology, including Kenya Kwanza, Azimio kind of had, but we don't really have ideology. They're just vehicles for power. If you look at real political parties, something like the ANC, the African National Congress, which has been in existence since 1913, parties in Britain where I lived for a long time, what do you call it, whether it's the Conservative, Labour, or the Liberals, or the US, those are parties for a long, long time. So, and that's why our politics is so immature that we're even having a conversation about, you know, people buying out each other. If these Kenya Kwanza people who are bought really believed in something, say Azimio believed in, was more of the left party, because ideology goes on the spectrum, left or right, till we develop that, then we will have, if it's the businessmen, the people who love capital and capitalists, they're in one party, like the Conservatives, and they're there, like, you know, what Trump was advocating for, reduce taxes for big business, you know, let's not have big government. And then, if it's on the left side, it's people who believe in big government, support welfare, you know, universal health care and all that. If we had that, then these people would not be speaking from the both sides of their mouth, like Donya. You know, it would be like, this is the ideology I support. I'm on the left. These are the things left governments. But you not just, let me be, not just in Kenya, but across the world. This is what left governments are about. If it's right wing, if somebody was right wing, this is, so then we would be meeting here, even so then there would never be a need to shift. Because if you don't believe in, for instance, universal health care, you believe maybe the private sector as a conservative should offer that, there is never a time you would join a government that doesn't believe in that. But what do we have? Parties, vehicles for power, and once it gets you to that door of power, if the person, whether it's the president or whoever who is in power, even gives you more goodies, you quickly get in, because it's all about personalities and their interests. So we have a long, long way to go. And it's really, really sad, because you know, for me, I study politics in the long durée. If 100 years from now, scholars like myself will be coming to look at this Ruto regime, what will he say he did to advance our politics? You know, buying all these people who are easily gullible is wrong, because then we will not advance. Because if I came back from the dead after 100 years, I would want to find that my children have parties that, for instance, that are ideological, right? That we are not sitting here to discuss, oh, let's not talk about that because he's the president. No, freedoms must be guaranteed, and that's how a growing democracy. And I'm glad I've had to live in countries where this is respected, because then you don't need to, you don't produce yourself.
Okay, before I forget, she has come up with a very good terminology of buying. Maybe she needs to tell us more of this buying. When former President Uhuru and Raila took a handshake, that's what you mean by buying, just to understand well. Buying was Professor Wamai, was that buying? This term buying,
I think that's inconsequential.
Not inconsequential. We want to understand, because she has been facing this point of buying. We also want to understand from our end. What do you mean by buying?
Tell us.
Let her tell us what she means by buying.
I think,
all right,
really,
Jerry?
Even from a legal perspective,
respond to that.
It is very important, Olive, for you to take a viewpoint that you believe in and that you can ascertain, or if you're called to adduce evidence to that you can. So this rhetoric of buying, who is being bought? How much have they been bought for? Were you there when the transaction was happening? Because I think it is something that we are selling, and even the media is fueling, and even on social media, and you feel that it is just wrong when you're on the inside and you know things as they are, but then people want to paint a narrative of what is happening behind the scenes, and it is not even there. It is neither here nor there, and it is bad to mislead the Kenyan people. And if you remember, the literacy levels of our country, they're still low. So of course there are people who will actually hear this information, perhaps maybe from maybe even her voters, and actually believe that now, because Donya is, you know, speaking her mind, and maybe being purported as if she's now leaning towards Kenya Kwanza, that now she has, you know, she has been bought or something of the sort. So I think it is misleading, and it is very important for Prof here, because I believe, I mean, she's well grounded in all these things, to say something that is verifiable.
And the most important point, I think, I don't know why, of course, they became very sensitive about being bought. But the most important point I think I'm trying to make is our lack of ideological parties. And if you don't have an ideology, and that's what I'm asking them, what is your party ideology? Are you on the left? Are you on the right? You will join whoever who is in power, because, as we said, we have a huge problem, because, yes, our democracy is under threat. The lead, and also the politicians, especially the party owners or party leaders, they do not see their role in the long durée. All they're thinking about is short-term interests. How to survive the next election. And so you need to get all these other people who don't seem very grounded in their party to join you. So whether this idea of buying, whether they buy you with money or they buy you with nice words, that is for you to explain to us.
Right, so Jerry,
but ideologically, and for me, we're not even here to debate. It is because you're Kenyans also. You know, this country is ours. In the next 50 years, you and they will not be here or whatever, you know. So think about this country. What happens to this country? No ideology, because lack of ideology is why our politics cannot grow. And politics influences the economy. All these people we are saying, young people with no jobs, unga prices, universal health care, all these are ideological issues. And if you would see that, you would stop fixating yourselves on small things like buying, so that your political parties can see you and say you're doing a good job.